What's up guys, Chasing Lamely here and welcome back to From Grove to Glory, a Williams story, episode number 23. We're going into our second season today, so we're back at Sydney for the first round. It's a one round shorter season this year, so it's a 20 race season because despite the fact there are 3 races in Germany, we've lost 1 in Russia. I don't understand. So, season start, let's go through a big old housekeeping. This is how things look in terms of us versus everyone else. We have the 8th best car apparently, we have the 3rd best driver lineup, we have the 6th best headquarters, although there's not much left to build on it. We have the worst staff, which is something I need to work on. We have the 5th best sponsors on the grid, and we have the best pit crew on the grid. Breaking down the car in its entirety though. We are well behind, although, well, I say well behind, we're 8th in terms of top speed, but we are currently designing a new engine, so that will be hopefully helping us to move up. We are currently 8th in terms of acceleration, we're 9th in terms of brakes, we are 8th in terms of front wing, 7th in terms of our suspension, and 9th in terms of our rear wing. So still some work to do. This is the new livery, I think we showed it in the last episode. I don't know why the sponsors don't show up on it, but that's a minor annoyance. I guess it just doesn't like the idea that sometimes sponsors shouldn't be white, I guess, I don't know. I'm sure I could fix it if I wanted to pay the money, but I don't care enough. So this is what we're running. This is the white, blue, and red monster for the season. We'll see how it goes. Let's do a quick rundown of how the other teams look, shall we? That's probably a good place to start. So let's go into the teams and we'll see one by one just who's doing what lineup wise. So Alfa Romeo still with Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, and Fuoco as their test driver. No big changes there, so that's good. Aston Martin, Red Bull, they've got this guy who's come in, René Rast, which is a very interesting choice. I don't know where he was last year. Was he their reserve driver last year, I guess? Maybe? I don't know. But he's alongside Graham Rahal and Dan Ticktum, which, quick math in my head, means that Pierre Gasly has gone somewhere. I don't know where, but that's not the best driver lineup. They reckon that's the 3rd best driver lineup on the grid. It's an opinion, but yeah. So big changes at Red Bull. At Haas, we've got Pietro Fittipaldi lining up alongside Max. Pietro Fittipaldi apparently in 2 seats for the season, both reserve and a main driver. I don't know how that's happened. I guess he's in the database twice. You know, we'll get over it. Maybe they just really like Pietro Fittipaldi. Stranger things have happened. Either way, if we can finally get out of here. Yeah, that's their lineup. So, trying to work out who that means is missing. Grosjean? I guess, because Magnussen already moved. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's worth paying attention to. We'll see we'll see if we can find out where they've gone. In the McLaren, we've got this guy, Albuquerque, the Felipe Albuquerque, who apparently was with them last season, but unless he was their test driver, I don't know. It's not someone I've come across. Alongside Lando Norris and Rudy Van Buren. So there's changes up and down the grid. I didn't get any mail about it, as far as I'm aware. In the Mercedes, the unchanged lineup of Hamilton, Bottas, and Esteban Gutierrez is their test driver this season. It's unsurprising because they won everything last year, so that makes all the sense in the world. At Racing Point, we have Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez with Lance Stroll moving down to test driver. Schaffnauer's job is apparently uneasy. That's probably because he's put Lance Stroll in the reserve seat, just a guess. But yeah, they've apparently got a worse car than us. Apparently worse drivers than us. Well, I say apparently, definitely worse drivers than us. Yeah, just bad times ahead at Racing Point. They may not have a great season at all this year. At Renault, Sergei Sorokin joins Daniel Ricciardo, with Nico Hulkenberg being the test driver. Interesting choice. I guess they need the money because Sergei Sorokin's a pay driver, but that's literally all he brings to a team. So that's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. At Ferrari, we've got Vettel, Leclerc, and Brandon Hartley, so pretty much all the same there. At Toro Rosso, Danny Kvyat, Alex Albon, and Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson is taken over as the, I don't know if he was. I didn't pay attention to last year's test drivers. Presumably he's new in there. And finally with us, of course, Kubica, Alonso, and Russell This might be Kvitsa's last race because we don't actually need the money after this, because, well, after this one or the next one, because we're about to finish our car factory. I'm curious as to where some people have gone though. Let's have a look at the Formula E team, see if anyone interesting has shown up and moved over to Formula E. Nicholas Latifi's gone over there. I'm just looking for F1 drivers who may have made the switch, because I can't work out where else they'd be going. No one big. Sergei Sorokin apparently doing double duty this year. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know where those guys went. I'm sure if I go into the drivers scouting, it will tell me who went where from last year's class. Let's have a look, because these guys have got to appear somewhere in the list. Roman Grosjean has gone to ART in Formula 2. That's got to hurt. Carlos Sainz has also dropped down to F2. He's joined the Dams team. We're heading into the realms of weird. Kevin Magnussen's at Carlin in F2. Pierre Gasly has joined Arden. There's some big old moves going on there. Big moves. Interesting moves too. Anyone else drop down that we should have paid attention to at some point? You'd assume so. You'd assume someone else must have left. I'm sure there was someone else I said had to have gone somewhere. It's only really important if they come back. I'm just curious now. It's going to be a very interesting F2 season. Juan Pablo Montoya's joined the Sauber Junior team in F2. Well, he might make his way back up. Who knows? Who knows what kind of craziness is going to occur? Oliver Rowland's found himself a new job in F2. Mick Schumacher still at Prima. Colton Herta can't find a car. Well, there's interesting. That's worth paying attention to, because Colton Herta is a very, very good driver. Anyone else big gone anywhere else? I'm not seeing anyone. Jensen Buttons in LMP2, which seems weird. Doesn't look like anyone big has turned up anywhere. Massively unexpected as far as I can see. As far as I know, no one this far down was in F1 last year. David Schumacher is without a drive. That's another interesting one. Billy Munger without a drive, which is just sad. Tatiana Calderon still has a drive, which is miraculous. Okay, yeah, that's looking. It's looking okay. It's looking like nothing massively special. We should scout Albuquerque just so we know what he looks like. Anyone else moved anywhere fun? Doesn't look like it. Looks okay. It looks like we understand what's going on with everyone. We need to understand what's going on with them. That's good. Okay. Apparently I've got the worst staff on the grid. Oh, I've lost a mechanic. Well, there's a thing. When did I lose or a designer? When did I lose a mechanic though? I don't remember losing a mechanic. I had everyone tied up as far as I knew. I guess we best find a new one then. Should we see if Pete Bonington, if Bono will join us from Mercedes? What are you saying, Bono? You're saying yes? If you're saying yes, I'm saying yes. Let's just throw a whole bunch of cash at you, because we will take Bono. I'll pay that. Why not? We'll give you a big old signing fee. This, by the way, is not the way to save money, but Bono. I say but Bono. I need to make sure I can get to the end of the season. We'll take that down there. We'll give the first place bonus of slight cheatdom, because that's always a why not, and we'll see if we can get Bono. If we get Bono, I'm putting him with Fernando Alonso, because, you know, just because. Right. So, in the race weekend, our bonuses are going to be for first either way, so it doesn't matter which one we pick. They're both for 100 grand. How is it? I don't understand. Apparently, before bonuses, we're losing 109,000. Without bonuses, we're losing. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. All right, we'll make it work. We'll make it work somehow. What are we looking at? High tyre wear. High tyre wear probably means I'm going to use more mediums than I am anything else. So let's be a little bit judicious with how we do this. Let's try that. That's going to work out, I think. Right, let's get into the. I'm going to go through the usual practice and quali off camera. We'll come back for the race in a second, so stick around. Okay guys, so race time and interesting qualifying session. Kubica did his usual trick of going in Q1 in 17th. Alonso managed to get himself into Q3 and into 8th position on the grid, which is a really good start. We're doing knowledge-wise, medium tyres and race trim because we know it's a high tyre wear race. In terms of strategy, I've taken 3 laps of fuel out of the car. It's a 41 lap race, but we're going to go with 38 laps worth of fuel. Alonso is obviously locked into these super soft tyres, which I think we're going to go about 10 laps, give or take. It says 12 to 14. We'll keep an eye on that, see how it goes. We've done the fuel already. In terms of the setup for Kubica, we're starting on the mediums because they've got about 25 to 27 laps in. He can curiously only get 12 to 14 of a set of fresh super softs, or ultra softs, super softs, like it's right in front of me. Yeah, so we're going to start on mediums and probably switch to a set of softs towards the back end of the race, but we'll see how it's looking. I think with the reduced fuel in the car, we might be able to stretch those supers to the end, but we'll play that by ear because that's usually the best way of doing things. So let's get into the race and let's see what we can do today. I'm hoping we can strategy some Alonso win today. So Charles Leclerc starts on pole with Sebastian Vettel alongside him. Then it's Hamilton and Bottas, so the Ferrari showing early dominance over the Mercedes. I say early dominance, if you look at the times for the top 3, that's 12 hundredths of a second between first and third, so still close. But Bottas in on 4th, in 5th Kimi Räikkönen in the Alpha, next to Graham Rahal in the Red Bull, 4th row, and 7th is Verstappen, 8th is Alonso, and then we have row 5 where we find in 9th we've got Sergei Sorokin making a surprise charge in the Renault next to Giovinazzi in the Alpha. Ricciardo is in 11th in his Renault, Fittipaldi in the Haas in 12th, 13th is Lando Norris, 14th Esteban Ocon for Racing Point, in 15th Danny Kvyat for Toro Rosso and Sergio Perez next to him in his Racing Point, then Kubica in 17th, Rene Rast in a Red Bull in 18th, which is interesting, and Felipe Albuquerque is in the McLaren in 19th next to Albon in the Toro Rosso in 20th. So a good mix on the grid today. We'll see how this all goes. Ready for 5 red lights and away we go, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we'll pick up that 100% charge on the way out through the first lap, and I want to watch Fernando Alonso because I know Kubica's going to drop back. He always does. So I need a drink. I don't know why I'm so thirsty today. Alonso though, losing positions off the start line, which is always a worry. We need him to sort of try and keep in the mix. Fittipaldi starting in 4th, making the interesting decision to start on hard tyres. I don't know how he's done that, unless he's just got a really good start, because I've just forgotten where he started the race. Because I can't imagine he got through to Q3 on that set of hards. So, interesting. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes as the race progresses, as always. Hopefully we're going to reclaim a full battery charge by the end of this first lap, because I don't think there was an option that let me start with a 100% battery charge, which is definitely not the ideal when you've got a new car set up. But we'll see what we can make happen. Hopefully we'll get there. Alonso needs to really start making a push. Hamilton has dropped all the way back to 8th, which is a bit surprising. A bit of a surprise start on the grid, really, if we look at everything all told. Bottas obviously pushing his way up. Leclerc has lost a lot of places. Fittipaldi, I guess, must have gained a bunch. I don't know if it will tell me how many places up we are. Does it have how many places up we are thing? It doesn't. Okay, well, hopefully we'll have a fully charged battery by the time Alonso makes it on this first lap here in Sydney. I don't think we're expecting any weather to occur. Looks like it's dry to the end, which is going to be fine. I say it's going to be fine. I'd rather have that because I know the AI can't handle rain. Rene Rast has found himself up into 9th already. Maybe he's a better race driver than he is a qualifying driver. That would make sense, but we'll see what damage we can do on this as things progress. Giovinazzi has fallen right to the back. He must have gone off the track somewhere, but I don't know where. I don't remember seeing a notification for it. and we haven't managed to reclaim full battery before we cross the line, which is definitely a disappointment. Let's see if we can still use what we've got to make a charge up the field. Hopefully we can. Very cold on the tyres today, it must be said. Really cold on the tyres. Means I'm going to have to do more pushing. It might mean we go to a 2-stop race, which not the worst thing that could happen, but also not ideal. We're going to push now just to see if we can get some places back. How's everyone else doing with their decisions tyre wise? Everyone else seems to be maintaining. So a couple of people saving tyres, which just means they must be stone cold dead at this point. Kubica making his way up to 18th. Alonso dropping back, having a good battle with Rahal. Rahal and Rast seem to be swapping places utterly at random. We'll see how that goes. We've passed Max Verstappen though, so that's going to be a benefit for sure, and hopefully we'll get onto the back of Raikkonen and maybe start pushing our way past him as well. Got to start making our way up the grid as quickly as possible. Fittipaldi though is doing very well to keep that Haas in fourth. Verstappen is dropping back like a stone. Maybe there's something to the idea that mediums are the way forward in this race, because it looks like they're holding very, very well. They're holding pace very well, which is good. Kubica up into 15th, making tracks. Let's speed things up a little bit just to see where we end up with Alonso, because he's definitely in a battle with Raikkonen and with Rahal and with everyone around him. Kubica though, let's switch to Kubica, because Kubica seems to be making up a lot of places. Alonso's kind of bouncing between 8th and 10th, but Kubica's made his way up into 14th, and he could be pushing onto the back of Alonso. We can see them both in the same shot almost, which is, you know, that's rare. Very rare we see them together on track. And Kubica making a dive for 13th past Rast by the looks of things, which, you know, that's scary in and of itself. Looks like the tyres are holding temp on the mediums in push mode, which is interesting. Very interesting. I might see if I can just give them the attack just to get them up to optimum temperature and then hold them with push, because if we can hold them at optimum temperature with push, we will be doing quite well. That's gonna probably keep us pushing forward. I don't think that tyre temp's going up even on push, or attack even. But Alonso's found his way into Kubica's found his way into 13th, and now he's starting to push his way up the field. That's Max Verstappen up next. Can he take Max Verstappen? It looks like he will. He's almost there. He almost made it through, and we're going to bring that down to push, because that looked like it was holding temperature, and that's at optimum right now. So we'll see how this looks. Kubica definitely found his way into 13th. He's chasing down Max. Let's see if we can push these guys a bit more. I think we can push Kubica past Max. We can, and now he's on the back of Lando Norris. I don't know why he's apologising for not getting past Lando Norris for. He's done well with the dive bomb there, although it looks like Verstappen has come back. Fernando Alonso suffering worn tyres. We'll keep it with Alonso, I think, just because I need to be on the ball when it's time to bring him in. We're going to switch him back down to neutral, and I think we can get 2 more laps off these tyres before we come in, which would be excellent. It's definitely starting to look like a 2-stop race. Definitely starting to look like a 2-stop race for Fernando Alonso. We're going to bring him in. I think we'll bring him now, actually. We'll bring him in early. We'll put him straight onto a set of mediums. That's 27 laps. Although it's going to be 27 laps on a push. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. Keep an eye on the car condition as well. We'll recharge the battery as far as we can. Strategy-wise, everyone should be well enough rested that they can do a fast stop in this first race. I'm just going to do a quick pause there because I want to make sure he is pushing and using all of his ERS on the way in. Hopefully he managed to use enough not to kill the battery. That's fine. Good pit stop. 1.6 is excellent. That's the way forward. Looks like Raikkonen came in as well for a set of softs, which may be a thing that's worth considering. Maybe we'll consider that with Kubica. I think Kubica is probably going to go straight to his set of softs after this anyway. Kubica's jumped to 8th, taking some people in the pits. Are we going to take anybody in the pits? Looks like we'll get Sorokin and Verstappen. We've got Sorokin and Verstappen in that one, so that's good. That's kept us clear. We'll switch back to Kubica though, because Kubica's actually in a real fight right now, and we're going to give him the ERS boost to see if we can get him on the back of Lando Norris again. Looks like we're not quite there. We've overtaken Lewis Hamilton for 7th. Alonso's just set a personal best, which is always good to see. And this is starting to look like a really strong showing. A little bit annoyed that I couldn't put Alonso onto a set of mediums to the end, but ultimately it's probably not going to be the worst thing. I think if he can find himself in clear air after the pit stops, Vettel needs to make a mechanical repair as well. We've still come out in front or behind him, but yeah, interestingly, he had to make a mechanical change. Yeah, it's a shame that Alonso's going to have to make a second stop, because I think that's going to cost him. But if everyone else has mechanical faults and we can avoid them as best we can, that's why I'm not pushing the engine at all if I can help it. Because there's no point. It's just going to cost us time in the pits that we probably wouldn't make up by pushing the engine, because we're not there with the reliability package just yet. We're working on it, but we're not there yet. Should you pit soon? I don't think you should, buddy. I think you're probably 4 or 5 laps from pitting at most. Drop down to 6th. Bottas makes his way past. Hamilton's coming through as well. Let's give you a push though, because I think you can get Bottas if you just push hard enough. Come on, there we go. Come on, keep the fight going, You've got this, Bobby. I believe in you. Even when you don't believe in yourself, I believe in you. Alonso up into 14th. He's the lead driver of the back, sort of mid-pack pitters so far. Looks like there was enough of a gap between the sort of faster runners, the Ferraris and the Mercs, to get essentially a free pit stop, which is worrying going through this season, but we'll see how it goes. It looks like Leclerc's going to try and make his way past Kubica. I think Kubica's probably going to come in this lap. But what to do? 23 remaining. Just going to bring him in for another set of mediums. I think that's probably going to be the way. It looks like his parts are going to be fine. We'll recharge his battery, keep him on that quick pit, and hopefully he'll get through this just fine. Let's give him the push though, just to get him through things. Make the most of what we have left on the tyres, because why not? I like the holding temp. It's nice to have a stable tyre temp. That's always a joy. Although if we lose track temp, any mistakes on the pits, it's looking good. Another 1.6, magical. We are about to lose some track temp, so that's going to be interesting to see if that starts dropping the tyre temps. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully it won't have too big an effect. Kubica pushes his way up into 17th out the pits, passes Raikkonen. Alonso is up into 12th. Ricciardo managed to somehow get out ahead of him. But let's go and see Fernando, because it's going to take Robert Kubica a while to work his way back. Sorokin ahead of him chose another set of super softs, which is bold. It's very bold, but at least we know someone else is on a 2-stop strategy, as Alonso makes his way up into 10th. Low fuel delta for Kubica. Let's go back to Alonso though. Let's see if we can push him back up behind Ricciardo. He's found his way up into 9th. Giovinazzi making another stop. Well, it says Giovinazzi made a stop, but he didn't actually put on fresh tyres, which is curious. We'll keep this push going. Why not? We'll keep the push going. Kubica getting past Sorokin if we can, because he needs to be doing that as fast as possible. Have we hit the temp drop? We have, and we're not losing tyre temp, so that's going well for us. And it's really just a case of keeping on Alonso's tyres and get him in as early as we possibly can. In fact, having said get him in as early as we possibly can, let's go attack. Let's see what we can build in terms of a time. At least we need to get as big a gap behind us as possible, because then I can get Alonso another set of super softs, and hopefully he'll be flying towards the end. But I want him to be coming out probably ahead of at least Albon. I think would be the ideal. If I can get him out ahead of Albon, I think we'll be in a good position. Up into 7th as Rast and Perez pit. Perez needing to make some mechanical adjustments. Robert Kubica's got his way up into 9th. Alonso complaining of worn tyres, which means he's got a couple of laps left maybe. But we'll keep an eye on that, see where that goes down. I think it's going to be the end of this lap. We bring in Alonso and take him to the end. Hopefully, is that 14 to go? 15 to go. That should be doable nicely. In fact, let's play that by ear. Let's play that by ear a second, because I'm also very aware that it needs to have the data of the tyre map, the tyre usage. Let's bring that down to push that, and then we will bring him in. We'll bring him in. Park condition, everything looking goodish. He should be able to take that to the end. We've done 28 laps so far. At fixed, it's lost 30%, so 15. It's risky. It's risky, but I think he'll make it. I think he'll make it. And like I said, we've got to get him in and out ahead of Albon to have any realistic chance of getting Alonso up into the points, which is the goal today, really, because we're still a long way behind development-wise. I've just realised he didn't use any of his ERS. We might kill his battery. We haven't. We've got lucky, very lucky. Another 1.6 pit stop. Kubica will go past, and Kubica hopefully should have 14 laps on those tyres. He does. He's got enough to get himself to the end quite comfortably, which is good. It's really good. We're going to use the push though on Kubica as soon as we can. The reason I'm keeping it on slow, by the way, is just so I can make sure absolutely at the fastest opportunity I can get in and hit the push button. He has come out just ahead of Alex Albon. He's on quicker tyres, and I think we may have made this work. Maybe for both drivers. It's very possible we've made this work for both drivers, which would be pretty special. It's annoying that I can't really push the engines, because I could have taken another lap of fuel out, I think. But you live and learn, and if needs be, we'll just use that to have a little push towards the end once we know what our conditions are like, what our tyre conditions are like. But Alonso getting a push, he should be catching up, probably not to Rast, but maybe to Verstappen. In fact, he's catching Rast as well, which is excellent. Something off with the gear shift. Buddy, how have you lost that much that quickly? Don't tell me I should have actually made the gearbox change, because that will annoy me. We'll keep an eye on it. Because we have to. I'll be very frustrated though. Very frustrated if we have to bring him in for a gearbox change. We have to bring him for a third pit stop. How are things looking over here? They're looking okay-ish. Definitely a lot of reliability work to be done, but we'll get there. We'll get there as always. Kubica up in 5th ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who is catching him, but you know, we'll see if we can push him away. We'll see if we can push Alonso back through into 8th maybe. That would be ideal. Hamilton is very much making up time on us. That would have had to have been the defensive driving masterclass from Kubica to be able to do anything with that. We're going to have to drop the tyres back down, probably to conserve actually. Gearbox condition low. Oof. How low? What's that? That's 17 seconds. I'm going to have to do it. I've ruined his race, but I'm going to have to do it. Let's just hope we get him out quickly. That's annoying. Very annoying. Hopefully nothing else will go. Suspension should be okay, hopefully. But I can't trust that gearbox. So we're relying on Robert Kubica to do his thing. Which is annoying, but let's hope for the best. Repair the gearbox, get that done mistake free. Oh no, he's had an error as well, a 7-second error. Back out on track and in last, and catching Perez now on what are going to be very worn tyres is going to be lucky. We have to do a big attack for Alonso. He should start putting in some fastest laps. Looks like Lando Norris is a fair way behind Kubica, so it's just going to be a case of how quickly can Alonso make up the gap to the cars ahead of him, start cutting through the field. In fact, that's probably a more exciting way to end the race, by watching that. So let's see if he can make some passes happen. I'm going to keep hitting the ERS just to get him back up. into contention. It's 3.2 down, 3 laps to go. I just don't want him to finish last. That's really the dream. We'll drop Kubica down to neutral. He's not going. Those tyres should stay working till the end. But let's not take unnecessary risks. I'm very aware he could lose a lot of time to Norris once they start dropping off, and quite quickly. So it's I don't know. As fun as it is watching Alonso, he's caught Perez and passed him. Watching him catch up to Verstappen will be interesting, but I don't know if he's going to make it. Whereas I think the big question here is, how long will Kubica's tyres hold on in this last lap? Can he keep this 6-second gap behind him? Because Norris is on worn super softs. It's going to be touch and go. Alonso set a personal best sector 1. We're going to come round very quickly towards the end of the race. Kubica's up into 4th, by the way. Absolute magic drive. I'm guessing Ricciardo came in for tyres on the last lap. But that's a magic drive from Robert Kubica. He's got himself, 12 points? Really good work. Ricciardo's not going to catch him. Burn that off. Why not? Give Alonso permission to just burn everything. Why would we not do that? He's still half a lap behind. I don't think he's anywhere near catching Verstappen. Nowhere near catching Verstappen. It's just fun to let him burn off the fuel. That's all I'm doing, just letting him burn off the fuel for fun now. Just to minimise that gap to Verstappen. But it's been an interesting race. Vettel wins, Leclerc 2nd, Hamilton 3rd, Fittipaldi with a really good finish on his debut in 7th, Rast as well 8th. Sorokin back up in 11th. Yeah, some good debuts. Albuquerque not necessarily having quite the fun experience on the debut, but you know, such is life and all that. Burn that off. I know he's crossed the line. I just don't like seeing it left behind. Yeah, I'm not unhappy with that. I'm not unhappy with a 4th place finish. That probably puts us 5th in the Constructors table. Just quick mathing in my head. Quickly get rid of that too. Quickly get rid of that as always. Yeah, good first race. Kubica was not the guy I thought would finish 4th, but it's really annoying because I think if we'd had the reliability in Alonso's car, I think he probably could have got a podium in that race. So he'll be disappointed, but we will learn. We'll go for it from there for next time. We'll see how that works out for us, hopefully pretty well. I can't see that it wouldn't go well once we've got him a reliable car to step into. We saw how well he did last year, but there's confirmation of our results, everything looking pretty good. Anyone else end up making 3 stops, or was it just Alonso who ended up making 3 stops? In hindsight, I should have changed that gearbox before, at the second stop, but hindsight as always is 20/20, and we'll just have to make the best of it. Kubica with a 13th place gain. He's got to be driver of the day, surely. Must be driver of the day. Albon and Rast gaining 10 places is still pretty good. But, yeah, I feel fairly good. We're in 4th in the drivers, of course. But where are we sitting in the Constructors after round? We're sitting 3rd, which is definitely good. Definitely good. Bit of a nightmare for Alpha, though. I mean, they had 2 cars in the top 10 and managed to get no points. So, that's curious, I guess. Curious. Let's just see how we've what we've gained, what gains we've made as we go into the driver update thing, and also let's see how the bank balance is looking. We haven't got that 100,000 sponsor bonus because we only get that when we win the race, which is just, I think all the bonuses they were offered were for first place finishes, so I don't think we're going to see much in the way of sponsor bonuses this year. We did win a race last year, but I don't think we're going to see a lot. We're expected to finish 6th. We came 3rd. The chairman's happy. We're saying marketable. Morale dropped a little bit for Alonso, which is fair, and for Russell, but he'll get his back once he gets back into the main cars, into the race seat. 109,000 loss, though, is not the worst thing that could have happened. We'll take it. Means we've got plenty of money to get us through to the end of the season, which is good times all round. Kevin Magnussen winning the first race of the F2 season, looking good. Grosjean getting himself a 5th. Juan Pablo Montoya getting himself a 6th. Carlos Sainz having a nightmare getting in 10th. But you know, it's looks like it's all worked out somewhere down the line, so that's all good. Anyone in F3 who shows up unexpectedly? Nobody making big drops that I can see. Okay, that's good. That's good. Alright, engine built, that's also good. Right, that's a good place to wrap up the episode, guys, I think. So, as always, thank you for watching. We will be back next week with episode number 2, or race number 2 of the 2020 season. Hopefully we'll have a better performance and a better car. But yeah, in the meantime, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons because it really helps me out. And yeah, until next time, I've been Chasing Lameling. Have a good one.